Well, hello there and welcome to this episode of the Terri Show that I want to start with a question. Are you afraid to tell the truth to your partner or your best friend if they won't like what it is you have to say, or if they won't agree with you? Or do you find yourself walking on eggshells with certain people in your life? If the answer to that is yes, then this video is for you, my friend, because in today's video, I'm going to help you identify what safe and unsafe relationships look like and why you might be attracted to unsafe folks, and also some steps that you can take to create more safety in your relationships. So before we get started, if you happen to be new to this YouTube channel, well, hello and welcome. Introduce yourself in the comments, say hello. We are a friendly group. Also, make sure that you subscribe and you hit the bell icon so that every time I roll out something new, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday, you will not miss a thing, because literally you are the people I am creating all of this content for. So I also love to shine a light on your comments, because I read all your comments and I appreciate how active our community is. So I want to say thank you to Zion, and this is under the video, how to deal with someone who makes an inappropriate or hateful joke at a party. And Zion says, I want to take a moment to express my appreciation for you and your gift to the world, Terri. I did this, stood up to someone making a hateful joke last weekend, and it felt so awesome. Making great steps in general, and it seems to offend a lot of people, but I'm ready to take back my power. Keep on shining, Terri. Why, thank you, Zion. You keep on shining too. And thank you for taking the time to drop that comment, because it makes me know that what I'm creating is adding value to your life, which is really my whole trip. All right, so let's move it on into today's content. So how do we know what is a safe or an unsafe relationship? I thought the easiest way to establish it is that I would talk about some of the behaviors in unsafe relationships, so that then we can juxtaposition it with the safer relationships. So an unsafe relationship could look like someone who is manipulating you, someone who is guilting you if you're not doing what they want. Too much intensity, like just, especially early on in the relationship. Someone who is sabotaging your good efforts. Someone who is deflecting responsibility. Well, there's always an excuse why they didn't do what they said they were going to do for you or in the relationship. Someone who's too jealous or possessive, that creates an unsafe situation. Someone who isolates you from your family and friends. They don't like anybody in your life. They want you all to themselves. Someone who is belittling to you, makes you feel bad about yourself with comments or their actions. Someone who is too explosive or volatile, that their reaction, which you're not sure what it's going to be, but a lot of times it's really big and it scares you. And someone who betrays you. This is just to establish what are the elements in an unsafe relationship. And listen, it's not to say that some relationships will have some of those things, but you really don't want a lot of those things, because that really does create a lack of safety for you in that relationship. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about, if we want to establish safe relationships, are healthy boundaries, because this is how we protect ourselves and our relationships. It's like, remember, your boundaries are your preferences, your desires, your limits, and your deal breakers. So by establishing and communicating, especially your limits early on in a relationship, it's really important, because you are teaching your partner how to respect you. Also sharing your preferences and inviting them to share their preferences as well. Like actually caring about the other person's boundaries is important too. And as you know, this can be physical, intellectual, sexual, emotional, financial, right? There's so many different areas of life where being clear about what our own boundaries are and communicating those boundaries are so incredibly important. Sharing your personal information gradually with someone is a way of having good boundaries. Even if you really like someone, protecting your time, right? By not overcommitting or overgiving, asking for space. Right? A lot of times in new relationships, there's a tendency to be together all the time. And I think it's really important, if you're someone who likes your alone time, that you're honest about that. That doesn't have to be offensive to the other person, because it's literally not about them. It's about you and what you prefer and how you feel. Being intimate at the pace that you are comfortable. Even if the other person would like to go faster, if you're just dating, it's really important that you know what your comfort level is and that what you're doing is within your comfort level. So, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Another thing for safety, because think about, have you ever talked to someone who makes you feel unsafe and you're talking about something and the way they're looking at you is scary? The way their body language is sort of menacing. There's many ways that we can create a lack of safety with body language, just like we can create safety with body language. If someone is telling you something, your partner is telling you something that's important or that's painful to them, giving them your full attention, looking at them, nodding your head like, I understand you, I'm with you, is very important. And you can do all of that without any words. So be mindful if someone is physically intimidating you with a look, with standing too close to you and sort of dominating you with their physicality. All of those actions create an unsafe environment. So since we're now on to the flip side of that, creating a safe environment, make sure that your body language is also creating safety for your partner, which is a lot of it has to do with giving someone your full attention, right? People are looking at your face. I mean, you know how much someone else's facial expression can impact how you feel or what you think or how worried you are. So be mindful about not eye rolling and be mindful about how the other people are treating you with body language. Another really important way of creating safety is being a really deep and active listener. And again, whatever I'm saying for you, this goes for the other person as well, right? No screens. Active listening is when you yourself can put aside distractions and defensiveness and really just be present to take in what the other person is saying. It is so important, and it is such a love language. I don't know, I mean, being listened to is one of my love languages, even though I know it's not part of the 5 that we know. It's so important. And I know when someone's distracted, and I know if Vic is not, like, I will always wait, and not in a punishing way, but if I'm telling Vic something that's important to me, I absolutely need his full attention. And I need to know that he's with me, that he's thinking about what I'm saying, not thinking about someone else or something else. And it's like, it's easy to get distracted, especially if what your partner's talking about is important to them, but might not be crucial to you, right? Of course, I'm talking to Vic about things that are happening in my world that are not in his world, right? Whether it's work, whether it's something that's happening within my business or my team, it may not be directly affecting him, but if it's bothering me, I need him to care enough to actively and without distraction listen. And I do the same for him. If you're talking to someone and what you're talking about is important to you, and that person is literally on their phone, that is not a safe environment. It certainly doesn't make you feel important. So tech is a really important thing to have boundaries around in all of your relationships, and especially if you have kids, to model what it looks like to not be on a screen 24/7. It's so damaging to our interpersonal relationships to never be present. So if you are really listening to someone, they can tell that by your body language. As I was saying before, you're nodding your head, you're smiling, you're maintaining eye contact, you're asking expansive questions. You're not giving auto advice. You're asking for clarification about what they're talking about, right? A really great thing to do is also to summarize and to sort of mirror back what you've heard them say. And I'm not saying you have to do that every time, but if it's important and if you really want them to know, like, I'm with you, I hear you, it's great to be like, okay, so you wish that this person wasn't doing this, and you're trying to figure out what to do about it. Did I get that right? Which that really is a takeoff of Harville and Helen Hendricks' work, which is imago therapy, where they have all scripting ideas of how to be a great listener and how to allow the other person to fully say what they want to say without cutting them off, without giving advice. It is so great. Their work is wonderful. I'll put some stuff in the show notes. I actually interviewed them early on in this podcast, and we've been here since 2015. And I'm afraid to go back and listen, literally, to that interview because I was fangirling so hardcore. I wasn't that expert at doing this yet, at interviewing other people. I don't know. My fear is that it's embarrassing, but I couldn't take it down because their information is so good and so helpful. So anyway, if you haven't listened to it, feel free to go and ignore me, but listen to what they have to say. All right, next thing in creating safety. You have to talk true, right? That's why it's part of the subtitle of Boundary Boss, the book. You have to talk true. You have to be able to be clear and transparent in what you're saying, because this is what builds trust. Trust and emotional safety come from knowing that you can believe what the person is saying and that they're saying it in a way that you can receive it. So it's like direct communication. So you don't feel like your partner is hiding something from you or that you're hiding something from them. And it's not to say that you need to share every nuanced thought you've ever had in your life, or you don't need to talk about what you talk about in therapy. It isn't like transparency in that way. I mean transparency in like a general openness, right? About your thoughts, your feelings, your activities, like what you're actually doing. I was in a relationship many years ago with someone who was so secretive. I literally dated this guy for a year and I never went to his apartment. And he was like, well, yours is so much nicer, blah, blah, blah. But of course, it turned out it was not a good scene. Somebody I knew told me they saw him at a party making out with someone else. It was like a nightmare. So, I mean, it wasn't a great relationship to begin with. But if I were thinking about how safe I felt in that relationship, the answer would have been not at all. And that my gut instinct from the beginning was that this person was not trustworthy. And yet I ignored that because I think I really just wanted to be in a relationship. I'd been single for a while and I was kind of lonely. And so, we get driven to sort of make decisions that are maybe not in our best interest when we're in a bit more of a compromised state. But I learned so much about myself and what I didn't want in that relationship that, I have no regrets about it. And I really never met anyone in that person's life. Again, there was so much secrecy. And I didn't really realize it until I was X number of months in, and we'd already established that the people we socialized with were people in my life, So sometimes it just happens, and then 6 months later, you're like, wow, this is kind of weird. But it happened over time, so I didn't notice it. And then, of course, once he cheated on me, then I broke up with him. But anyway, moving on. Yes, transparency is important. Another really important aspect of creating a safe relationship is giving your partner the benefit of the doubt. And I don't mean being naive. It means stop judging so much. Move into more radical curiosity about why your partner is doing what they're doing or why they're making that decision. Because I can tell you from my own experiences, it's so easy. If someone is not doing it the way that I would do it, especially back in the day before I had a million years of therapy, I would feel like immediately I needed to judge them as doing it wrong. That I was very attached to my yum, yuck, right? My right and wrong of all of the things, which of course actually really is a block to intimacy, because instead of being curious about why that person was doing it that way and making up sort of negative narratives about them, if you just ask, you actually can learn something. You can still disagree with the way that they're doing it, but I don't know, I worked really hard over the many years I've been in therapy over my need to be right, because it was something that made me feel safe. But it's so bad for relationships because life isn't black and white like that. There's so much gray matter. There's so much gray area. And Vic doesn't have to do everything the way that I would do it. And thank God he doesn't, But instead of now, I can be curious about why and learn something about him and about why he's doing it that way. I mean, sometimes I still think I'm right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fully fixed. But I'm certainly way more aware, and I'm much more interested in being radically curious about him than I am about judging him. Another super important thing to create safety in your relationship is to do what you say you're going to do. When we follow through with our commitments to other people and to ourselves, we are behaving like trustworthy individuals, emotionally trustworthy individuals. Do what they say they're going to do, or they let you know in plenty of time, hopefully, that they can't. Because here's the thing, all of us will overcommit at some point, or will think something is easier than it is, or whatever. So that's not like the crime. The crime is the lack of communication. The crime is just not showing up for the thing you said you would do, or just not doing it. If you're in a relationship with someone and you say, okay, you said you were going to whatever the thing is, and they say, I will, stop nagging me about it. That's not emotionally trustworthy behavior. Because either say, I won't, and let me hire someone to do it, or do it. I had a friend who was married to a guy who was really passive aggressive, and they had this whole brawl every month about him taking the garbage to the dump, and it drove her crazy. You know, we live in the country. She didn't want garbage piling up in their garage because it would get maggots, and you would get, like animals would go in and rip it up sometimes. Like, it's just gross. Why not just do it weekly? It's not that much garbage, whatever. But it was like her husband insisted that he do it, but then he wouldn't do it. And it became this massive power struggle between them. And what was interesting, of course, is that it wasn't about the garbage. They were having massive power struggles about other things as well. And I finally said to her, babe, why don't you just, for $24 a month, have the garbage picked up? Make that decision on your own. He doesn't have to do it anymore, and you guys don't have to fight about it. And she did that, and he was so incredibly pissed. And that was sort of the beginning of the unraveling, because it wasn't about garbage. It was about every other thing. They weren't communicating about what was happening, and she's very happily remarried, living somewhere else now. So anyway, I was happy she got rid of that garbage guy. But doing what you say you're going to do is really important, and not placating the other person. And you, it's not just about the other person doing what they say they're going to do. It's you doing what you say you're going to do, or being precise with your language about when you're going to do it. Perhaps it's something that you can't do for another 3 weeks, but be clear about that. That's called having a boundary and setting a limit and communicating, right? Talking true. Because now we're managing the other person's expectation, and it doesn't create all of this resentment, which of course there's so much resentment and fear in an unsafe relationship. And listen, if you feel like you're already too far down the rabbit hole with an unsafe relationship, consider getting into therapy together if your person would be open to doing so, because couples therapy can be really helpful. And this does not apply if you know you're in an like a dangerous relationship, an abusive relationship, if you're experiencing domestic violence. I will put the information for you in the show notes. This stuff does not apply because your safety has to be the most important thing. But you can be in a relationship that is not actively abusive, and still feel emotionally unsafe. And that's who this episode is for. I hope that this added value to your life. If it did, please share it with the people in your world. You can get all the info that I talked about in the guide. Just go to terricole.com/guide. I hope you guys have the most amazing week. And as always, take care of you.